Had a career high today. How'd that feel?
Felt pretty good out there. I'm starting to get my shot going again. Legs under me, my body's feeling good. So just happy with the performance out there.
Shooting the ball well. What's come together recently?
Yeah, I'd say mostly just my health being back to 100% and getting a lot more extra reps up. Repetition for me is big.
For the team, you guys battled all the way to the final buzzer. How do you guys maintain that and bring it forward to the next game against Washington State?
Yeah, this team has a ton of fight in it. We never give up. We're always bringing energy. So we're just always going to come back and try to hit. Hopefully we can break through pretty soon, but next week's going to be big for us.
Team led at half and stayed in the fight down the stretch against a potent Oregon State offense. What do you see out there?
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, we played one of our better games of the season. We had 6 more field goals than Oregon State, and we made more three-pointers, 3 more three-pointers than the Beavers. We held our own in terms of points in the paint, and that was a big factor coming in against a team that likes to play through the post. We were opportunistic, we were alert, we were sharing the ball, shot 52% in the first half, and held them to 42%, not only in the first half, but for the entire game. So it was one of our better sustained efforts defensively. They got to the cherry stripe, to the free throw line 30 more times than we did, and that was really the difference. That's why even though we had 6 more field goals and 3 more three-pointers than they had, they were able to secure the win late because they knocked down some timely threes. It wasn't the amount of threes, but the timing of the threes were, something that hurt us.
Yeah.
And so proud of our players in terms of fighting and scrapping. And we've been in the desert, it's no secret, but their character really shines through. I see it every day in practice. Our fans see it on game days. It's not a group that goes quietly into the night. They counterpunch, they fight well, they care about each other. And you see that on the court in games, and you also see it in practice. And that's easier said than done, and in particular when you're in the midst of a losing streak as we are. And so that will serve them well later in life. In the meantime, we'd like to get back to the winner's circle and end this slide and get off the snide and all those phrases that we use as coaches. And but proud of them for their effort tonight. And now we got to come back to practice, get better in the areas that hurt us, and build on our strengths, because there's some really good things going on in terms of individual player development and even stretches in the game where we're playing high-level basketball and executing at a high level. And then we have some stretches that hurt us, where we take some ill-advised shots, turn the ball over a little bit, have some breakdowns defensively, and we don't have the margin for error to be able to do that and still come out on top with a win. And so we got to minimize opponents' runs and do the things that are going to allow us to be successful and put ourselves in a competitive position to win a game.
Mm-hmm. Kody Clouet had a tied career high 19 points. What else stood out to you individually?
Kody had good practices, and it doesn't always work out where if you have good practices that you play well in the games. I've had players that struggle in practice and then play lights out in the game, and vice versa. Players who really practice well but don't perform well under the lights when it's game time. But Kody's hard work is paying off. He's had some good practices, and now we're seeing him find his rhythm offensively and hit some big shots for us, some with the clock winding down. But he found a way, and even had some good fortune with the banker from straight on with the clock running down. And his teammates were looking for him. There were a couple possessions where I think we could have made that one more pass to get a higher percentage 3, and we took a shot that wasn't a bad shot, but with that extra pass, that one more mindset in rotating the basketball offensively with a precise pass, that's when we'll shoot the ball at even a higher clip. But today was progress. 8 for 22 is a competitive number from behind the three-point arc.
What about freshman Tony Duckett, 5 assists to 1 turnover? How well did he play playing at the point?
Yeah, Tony played big minutes. I think he only came out for 30 seconds. And so to play against a quality team, upper half of the West Coast Conference, as an opponent in Oregon State, he really sustained a high level throughout the game, which for a freshman is impressive. He didn't seem to hit the wall. He's getting better defensively, which is what we've really focused on. We know he's dynamic. He can shoot the ball from long range. I think he's shooting 38 from the three on the season. He can get to the rim with his quickness, his ability to accelerate. He's got good footwork and good handles, so he can separate from defenders and create his own shot. He needs to improve his mid-range shots, and sometimes when he gets to the mid-range, he shoots off balance. When he gets his feet under him, his shot mechanics are beautiful, and that's why he's shooting 88% from the foul line, because you're on balance at the free throw line, and that's why his numbers are impressive for a freshman from the charity stripe. But off the bounce and on the move, he needs to really be aware of taking off and landing in the same spot, because that'll increase the accuracy of his shooting percentages. But proud of him. Big minutes, big time opponent, and that one turnover is important as well. It shows he's making better judgments and making better decisions on the move with his orchestrating ability to share the ball.
Up next, you've got Washington State on the road, another team you battled earlier this season. How is the team coming back together ahead of that?
Yeah, I mean, number one, we fell behind against Washington State on our home court 18-2, and then we rallied, went on a 23-point run to take a 7-point lead against them, and then they had the final push to close out the game and get the win against us. So we've got to be ready to play a quality opponent on the road, a tough environment, and it starts with our practices and our rehearsals and our mindset. One of the things when you're in a losing streak, it's really important to reframe and to reset the mindset. It's a metaphor for life. That's the beautiful thing about sports. It's why parents and teachers and coaches understand the value of sport, because we learn these really important traits or attributes, characteristics that not only help us in the arena of sports, but help us beyond sport itself in the game of life. And so our kids are getting a School of Hard Knocks, a PhD in the School of Hard Knocks, and we address that. We're transparent about it and just say we don't know, why. We're not trying to lose these games. We're working hard, we're preparing, and we just haven't caught a break. But that is often what life is like. It just keeps coming, whether it's losing loved ones or dealing with health challenges, or losing your job, getting divorced, losing a home. That's real. And so sports relative to life, right, is a more safer haven to learn these important lessons about resilience and bounce back and still being a good teammate and still coming back with the right attitude. And that's what I'm most proud of, probably more than any team I've ever coached. Number one, I've never had this number of losses in a row, but what really impresses me and what I admire about our group is they come back to practice. You wouldn't know that we're in the desert and struggling like we are. They got the chin up, no one pouting, no pity parties, no one feeling sorry for themselves, and they really represent our school in an impressive fashion on and off the court. And now we just want to get some wins because they deserve it. Our staff wants to see them get some W's here late in the season. And we got the West Coast Conference Tournament coming up. We got to get ready and practice this week, go to Washington State, come home against Portland, and then the following week we're going to Vegas. And no matter whether you're 30-4 or 4-30 or what kind of season you had, everyone in conference tournaments during championship week goes back to 0-0. And you're given a reset, an opportunity to punch your ticket to the big dance if you can get hot at the right time of the year. And we're playing competitive against the top of our league. So there's no one we're going to face in Vegas that we're not going to have an opportunity to win. But we got to get better between now and then.
Today's result aside, it was your 450th career game as a head coach in D1 men's basketball. What does that mean to you when you think about all the players you've coached, all the people you've worked with, all the games under your belt?
Yeah, it is relationships and being grateful for the relationships you develop, going back to Purdue University and then time at UCLA and time at St. John's and now at the University of San Diego. And at today's game, of course, Earl Watson, who played for UCLA, is one of our assistant coaches. It's a situation where you're grateful to be able to work with Earl. When I was at St. John's, Rico Hines was on my staff. And today, Brandon Lloyd, who also played for me at UCLA and lives here in San Diego, came to the game. Dijon Thompson, another Bruin who played for me at UCLA, he was here as well. So the relationships is what you appreciate most about the game, and NCAA tournament runs are great. Watching young people develop and participating in their dreams and aspirations is what got me into this business. And the camaraderie that you have with your players and coaching staffs, and to be able to do it coast to coast. And obviously it's a lot of games, so that means I'm getting old as well. So it means a lot, though, and I'm grateful. Even when we're struggling, I told the players that it's important. You can't just be a front runner and be grateful when things are going well. You got to also be grateful for the challenges coming your way. The struggle is also growth opportunities, and that's what we're definitely learning this year, is how to grow through struggle.
Season best attendance here at the JCP, 2 straight games. What does that mean to have that support behind your team?
Well, fan attendance is important. It helps in so many respects. It helps our players. They talk about that sixth man when you've got that support and that love in the house here at JCP. And it also makes me aware of how the efforts of our marketing people, they've worked strategically and diligently to create interest in our athletic program and in men's basketball specifically. And it's also a credit to our players. I think the way they compete, game in, game out, we haven't come up with a win of late. We're punching back, trying to get to a winner's circle. But I think our loyal fans really appreciate the fight and the grit that this team brings to the table in every home game. And so we hope we get more fans in our upcoming game next Saturday against Portland. I think it's a 7 p.m. game, if I'm not mistaken. So we need people to turn out. It'll be senior day, where we recognize some of our seniors who have served so well during their time here at USD. And then I hope they travel over to Vegas so we can bring a contingent of Torero fans for the West Coast Conference tournament. And then looking down the line next year, we're punching up, and we're going to close the gap on the top of this league and climb the ladder. And we have a lot of work to do in the off season, both in terms of player development and also recruiting, because we have to make some tweaks, obviously, to our roster and personnel. Recruiting is the lifeblood of any athletic program, and no different here at USD.